So the Switch 2 reveal came out today and it was kind of a lot. Did Nintendo drop the ball with this reveal, or was it seriously everything we've been waiting for? The internet has been divided as usual. We had a full hour to go over the Switch 2, including some upcoming games, new features. Some things were left out, which is, something I'll talk about a little more in this. But at the end of the day, it's here, it's on the way. And did Nintendo really exceed anyone's expectations, or did they drop the ball here with the Switch 2 reveal? I'm going to be going into my thoughts. I wasn't able to kind of record this in the morning because I had to head to work. It was super early when it came out, but I want to give you guys just my take here, the good, on what I liked about the presentation, the bad, of course. We are going to talk about, just some missteps here, and just like an overall, sentiment on what's going to be going on with the Switch, maybe the gaming industry. To give you guys some context, I'm a Nintendo fan, man. You probably can't see here on the camera, but I've got like Zelda displays everywhere. I've owned every Nintendo system at launch, right? I've never kind of just waited to buy one. So I was hyped going into this, and to give you guys just a little bit of where my thought process was. So, I don't like to get disappointed, but after they dropped the Switch 2 reveal, I think like a month or two ago, just confirming it after all these leaks, we all knew, and we were getting a upgraded Switch, right? We weren't going to get this new gimmicky brand new system, right? There was not going to be, a Wii, for example. Like, this was going to be maybe the first Nintendo item that's got like a 2 in it, right? I mean 3DS, but yeah, it's a successor. I mean, you could kind of say the Wii U was, but for me at least, I think a Japanese guy was in an Olive Garden and just saw some millennials with iPad kids and was like, hell yeah, man, we're about to kill it in the market. Yeah, that shit didn't work. But yeah, guys, I was not expecting anything radical. I wasn't expecting anything new. To cover the good here about what I like, bigger screen, always a plus. 1080p, it's a good screen, right? I mean, being able to have 4K on there as well, which is awesome. I mean, it's where we expected the Switch to go. So I wasn't really just overwhelmed by that news. And I wasn't really underwhelmed by it, for example. It was kind of just what I expected. The mysterious C button that everyone was worried about has nothing to do with games, and Nintendo is basically finally getting into the online space with chat. Nintendo has not really been the best when it comes to online. I mean, I never really cared to own the Nintendo Online type of, subscription or whatever. I was enticed a little bit by the expansion pack, but, me owning a Steam Deck and having just really easy emulation opportunities there, I didn't really see the need for it, guys. But, it is getting better and better. But yeah, I mean, the chat function was weird, man. I like it because it's just finally we're, in the 21st century when it comes to just online play. But the weird Zoom Skype thing, having the person down there, I mean, it's all right. I don't care to have that camera. I work in the corporate world, man, and I turn my freaking camera off. I don't want anyone just seeing me. So I don't know, having a camera in my room, I don't know how that's going to really fare out. And I would say the weirdest part too about that whole presentation aspect was they were showing other people's screens and it was at 2 FPS. It was weird, man. I don't know who gave the green light for that footage, but I'm a little worried there because Nintendo's not known for having the best online. I'm not sure if it's any better, but yeah, it's something I'm not a huge fan of, man. Besides that, I thought it was cool that you could share your screen. I mean, I guess you can use it to help your friends out with certain things or puzzles, which is pretty cool. I don't like that, your screen kind of shrinks and it I hope it's not permanently like that. We are going to learn more. And that's kind of a recurring thing that happened throughout this event. A whole hour of news, by the way. And I mean, on top of that, we were learning more throughout because they just didn't give us everything. So yeah, the specs were kind of mysterious, right? I mean, bigger screen, 120 frames was, supposedly the capability of it, 4K as well. So, there's going to be a fan in the dock, making the dock just a lot more important when it came down to the system and just how it works on your TV. So, I mean, we're expecting a more powerful system, right? No matter what, we expected a bigger screen. You've got the magnetic Joy-Cons, thank God, because you don't know how many times I've slid those in the wrong way and it got jammed. That's a good plus there. But yeah, I mean, other than that, you are getting basically a Switch 2, right? You're getting an upgraded Switch, better graphics, better frame rate, and, just new games. They touched on some things like a game share, which we're going to be learning more about, which I think is great, especially if you have a family, right? You don't want to buy Mario Kart, for example, for 2 kids and things like that. So being able to be a little more consumer friendly, I think, is always a good thing, if you ask me. I did talk about the expansion as well. So they are adding GameCube games. So finally, We can play Wind Waker again officially, no emulation or anything like that. And they did say that things are going to be upscaled as well. So I think that's also a really cool plus. That expansion, by the way, is like $50 a year. I don't think it's really that bad considering like the catalog that's on there right now. So I mean, I'm kind of looking at it again. I'm not, it seems convenient to be able to just drop in and play one of those expansion games, but not 100% sold yet, but I'll let you guys know. Back to the specs though, real quick. Take it with a grain of salt if you ask me. We're not gonna know, man. We're really honestly not gonna know if games are capable or optimized for that 120 FPS. So, until Digital Foundry and other people get their hands on it and are able to test it, right? A lot of this does lie in the hands of the developers, right? If the Switch is capable of it, and I know Nintendo does some magic like with Tears of the Kingdom, I'm banking that, they're going to really crank out their console to the best that it can. But again, take it with a grain of salt. They did actually throw out a release date as well. They did not give us a pre-order date during this direct. But yeah, we're looking at June 5th, guys. Really freaking soon, man. It's like 2 months from now. So pre-orders are going to actually be going live next week. And they've got kind of like a weird process on the Nintendo site. You've got Best Buy and everyone trying to keep up with it. So yeah, keep your eyes peeled for those pre-order dates, right? But yeah, that was something that they mysteriously just kind of left out, man. And we'll talk a little more about the controversial, the bad, I would say, the weird shit that they just didn't want to talk about and kind of kept under the radar for us to discover later. I didn't talk about this too, but I mean, you are able to switch the controller over and use it as a mouse. Pretty interesting for like FPS titles. They were using it in Mario Party Jamboree as well for like the new mini games. Speaking of Mario Party Jamboree, that Zelda, I think Kirby, both Zeldas actually had like upgrades to the Switch 2 version. Oh, and Metroid, which I called it, man. I knew Metroid was going to be upgraded or whatever the Switch 2. So yeah, you're getting, better graphics, better FPS, things like that, automatically, kind of like the PS5 enhanced versions or whatever. But it's going to be for a fee. So far right now, +1 for Microsoft being the only company that gives a shit about us, right? Giving us these for free. Sony right now and Nintendo have this whole fee thing, which we're looking at maybe $20 or $30 for to upgrade like your game. Mario Party though was the only one that showed like a new feature, right? Like you're getting actual new mini games and like a new mode with Mario Party Jamboree. I was expecting like a Zelda DLC or something for that fee, but I don't know, man. They didn't show it, so maybe in the future, they'll drop that randomly on us during like a future direct. But yeah, 20 or 30 or whatever the price is going to be for just like some upgraded visuals and things like that. It's really not that serious, man. I mean, I would say the system is getting caught up, right, to where current gen is. So for the Mario Kart reveal, that actually took a while, man, and I was pretty hyped on this, man. I think it's been forever since the Mario Kart game came out. So the fact that they took this one, made it open world, and they kind of like ran with it like a Forza game, it's interesting. It looks, fresh. It looks new. It's got like the classic stuff there too. But, you're able to just like team up with friends and go around. It looked like there was a lot of character customization as well. But I mean, Mario Kart, man, Mario Kart's kind of like the hidden devil in this. We'll talk later, but yeah. And it's actually going to be a launch title. And it looks like it's the only exclusive. They did kind of shadow drop like a random banger of a game. I mean, I thought we were getting Donkey Kong, Country or whatever, like a sequel to it. But no, we've got Donkey Kong Bonanza, where he's just plowing through different like obstacles and things and being able to like rip the ground out and throw it at mountains and shit. So that looked fun too. It looks like that's going to be a Switch 2 title as well. So it's not a launch title, but those are 2 exclusives there. Everything else though, backwards compatible. It looks like, Switch 1 games, you're able to play them on the Switch 2. And I mean, that's it. You're really getting kind of like 2 exclusive games besides third-party games. But let's be real, guys. Those are on PC. Those are on PlayStation. So unless you don't own a PlayStation, an Xbox, or a PC, I don't think you were too excited by the third-party games. So I'll kind of like run through them real quick for you guys. We had an Elden Ring Tarnished Edition or something like that, which looks like it's going to come with the DLC, maybe some little upgrades like that. But again, not sure. Ultimate Edition of Cyberpunk as well. So already that already tells us that this thing is pretty powerful, right? But we have to wait and see what it's going to look like. Hopefully it's not, like the memes of like Mortal Kombat and just how everything else looked on the Switch 1. I'm really hoping this one's strong enough, guys. And those third parties so far have kind of like eased my worries a bit. You've got an Unknown 007, which looks like it's going to have a trailer or something later. It's kind of like a quick teaser. And From Software is actually dropping a banger of a game, and it looks like it's a Switch 2 exclusive. I was hyped already, right? I mean, they never disappoint, but it's a multiplayer Souls-like type of game. So we'll see a little more about that. Really interesting so far. Besides that, I mean, Hogwarts Legacy was on there, right? Some other games. Nothing too crazy when it came to like those third parties, right? Like we didn't get a GTA freaking reveal here, guys. Like, you know, whatever those leaks were showing. So nothing there. And then one of the last things that they showed was going to be a Kirby sequel to, I think, like Air Riders, or I don't remember what it was, man, but it came out a long time ago when I was a kid, like 20 or so years ago. Looks like it's finally getting a sequel. It's kind of like another racing game, but it's not like flying to it. I barely remember it as a kid. Again, interested. I love Nintendo games, man. They deliver quality, right? And that's something that I truly enjoy, and it's why I've bought all their games so far and all their systems. I get like a amazing experience despite the lower graphics, despite the lower frame rate or whatever. I truly enjoy it, right? It might just be me being just like a kid at heart, you know, it being my first console, things like that, maybe nostalgia. But yeah, man, I was hyped. Needless to say, this entire thing, I was excited. I really was. Thought it was a great presentation, honestly. So now let's kind of get into the bad here, guys. This is where the internet's going crazy. This is where, you know, Reddit's on fire. Comment sections have economists, you know, chiming in on inflation and things like that. I'm going to just give you guys a quick rundown of what's going on. So they didn't show a pre-order date, and they didn't show price, and they didn't even show the price of the games, right? And it was a little fishy. It really was. It was just like, all right, what's going on, right? I know today was International Tariff Day or whatever, so I was just like, all right, maybe they're waiting. Maybe they're waiting to drop the price. But no, they kind of stealth dropped it on their website. They were just like, hey, go to our site for a little more info. So keep in mind, no in-depth specs, right? Like we're not certain how powerful this system is, really. So, you know, they kept that hush-hush, no price on the games. So all we know so far is that you've got a bundle that comes with Mario Kart, and you've got a bundle of, you know, the system by itself. So system by itself, $450. So off rip, I was a little, you know, put off by it, and, you know, hear me out, but I was expecting 400, right? 300 for the Switch One makes sense. That was like 10 years ago. I'm thinking, you know, price increases, things like that. But from what I saw, it's maybe in line with the PS5. I'm not sure. We don't really know yet. I doubt it. I feel like the PS5 is still a lot more powerful. And I mean, you're not getting like an OLED screen or anything like that. So I was like, you know what? 400 seems high, but, you know, I was ready for it, right? So 450, I was like, all right. And then the bundle was 500. I mean, it's high, man. I've thought about this all day, right? I mean, I was initially okay with it. My PlayStation 5 was $399 discless. This thing is basically $500. Again, I haven't bought a Switch, you know, in like 10 years or so. So I was expecting, you know, inflation and shit like that, but it's high. It is high for what you're getting. I don't think there's any, I guess, way around that, right? It's just for the power you're getting, you're not really getting like an up-to-date console. And it does worry me that whatever future games come out, it's going to, you know, get left behind again, just like what happened with the Switch One, right? They're going to try to drop some third-party releases. Those games aren't going to be able to keep up. And it's immediately, you know, when the PS6 and shit like that comes out, you know, it's going to get forgotten, and it's going to basically be a Nintendo only title. And that's kind of, guys, honestly, that's where mine is right now. So I don't buy third parties on mine at all. I buy just Nintendo games. I've done that forever. You know, if I want a third party game, I've got PC here. Steam is amazing. And I've also got, you know, my PlayStation, my Xbox, things like that. So it doesn't really matter to me. Now, the big controversial thing besides price, man, remember that rumor about GTA being like $100? What if I told you Nintendo was going to beat Take-Two to it with Mario Kart? Insane, right? You'd call me crazy, but no. Mario Kart looks like it's about to be $80 and up. I think the physical edition was going to be $90, and just like the digital edition was going to be $80 from what they were showing. $79.99. Crazy. Insane. Yeah, it's open world. It's not the most high-res looking game, man. It's not. It's not Baldur's Gate level. It's Mario Kart. And I feel like Nintendo right now is testing the water. There's a reason they didn't freaking show this during their reveal. They didn't want to just like, you know, put that out there and bring some negativity. So they kind of just swept it under the rug. But man, if Nintendo is the one that's ushering in $80 games here, I mean, I'm in the US. $80 plus tax. We're looking at 90 bucks. The typical trip to the freaking grocery store for me is like $100, man. And I work, right? I work full time. Even for me, like I can afford it. I can afford the system. I can afford the games. But we're getting to a point, man. We're getting to a point where this is getting crazy. This is like, if you ask me, they all just know that we're, you know, millennials that are hyped up on freaking nostalgia, right? And, you know, we've all got big boy jobs now or big girl jobs. So let's just, you know, with our adult job and our adult money, just fuck us completely. And it's starting to feel that way, man. It is, because I've didn't do this react right away. I had to go to work. And the more I sat with my thoughts here, the more I thought about it, man, I can't justify it. I cannot. Yes, there's inflation, right? And we barely hit the 70 mark. I think Tears of the Kingdom was 70 like 7 or 8 months ago. But the jump to 80 right now, man, like why? What are we doing here? What's the point? You know, are we spending too much on marketing? I don't think Nintendo spends that much on marketing. Yeah, wages have gone up, right? But at the end of the day, tech is getting easier and easier to develop. It's getting just like more affordable for people to like, you know, get like OLEDs and things like that. It gets cheaper in time, right? It gets more accessible. I had an N64 and yeah, games were 60 bucks, right? But I got like 1 or 2 games. That's it. Why? Because we rented games at Blockbuster, Hollywood Video. There was a GameFly. You know, buying games was just not that popular. It was like, it was expensive during that time. And, you know, if we count for inflation, it's still freaking expensive. It really is. But now, you know, you're not selling 2 million copies and going, oh my God, this is a success. You know, Mario Kart, I think, sold like 70 million copies or some crazy number like that. I mean, they are raking in profit year after year after year. And you've got companies cutting content, right? They said that, oh, maybe we'll get less DLC when $70 games are out. Fuck no. No, we've got more DLC. We have more microtransactions. Like microtransactions at this point are becoming like freaking macro transactions. It's crazy. You've got, you know, these free to play games as well that are pumping $40, $50 skins. It's wild. And I just feel like companies are just testing the waters here. At this rate, man, GTA is going to be $100. And that sucks. That sucks because it's just like taking advantage for more and more profit. And I get it. They're a business. They need to make profit. But I mean, gaming is popular now, right? It's way more popular. You sell way more games. And it's like, Nintendo, dude, you publish your own games. You really do. And it's like, I don't know. Again, it's my biggest issue with this entire thing, right? I wasn't like super stoked on the price for the Switch 2. And, you know, the $80 Mario Kart, man, that's just puts a bad taste in my mouth. It really does. And to make things even more confusing, you've got Donkey Kong Bonanza at 70. So it's like, are you just doing it to whatever games you can get away with? Like, are you going to charge 100 for Zelda because, you know, there's Zelda freaks like me that are just like dying to play it? And to make matters worse, you've got Nintendo, who's known to never put their games on sale, like ever. I think Mario Kart right now, go into a GameStop, it's 60 bucks. Doesn't matter how old it is. 60 bucks doesn't change. So yeah, man, this is really the overall bad here for me, right? I really hate how they kind of just like hid this stuff. They hid the price, you know, the pre-order info is just like murky. We got April 9th as like the date, but you know, pricing of the games just being like shadow dropped in there. And on top of that, I mean, they had this like tech demo that's kind of like Astrobot styled or whatever that looked kind of weird with mini games that they were just like available to buy. When you have Sony, well, honestly, man, sucks. Sony sucks when it comes to like consumer friendly shit. They bundled it with their freaking system, man, to show you the controller and really sell it to you. So weird move there. But yeah, man, it really sapped the fun, I would say, out of it. I was stoked. I haven't seen like a new system launched in like 10 years. I mean, the last time was, I think, like the PS5. I don't count the Pro models or anything like that. So yeah, it was just like, you know, I was up early, I was ready, and I was just like, all right, if pre-orders go live, I'm ready for it. You know, I want to upgrade my Switch, ready for Metroid, you know, ready for whatever's happening with Pokemon and the future. So I was hyped. And yeah, as the day went on, it got worse and worse for me, man. It really did. Kind of hate the way they did it. And if you ask me, they really fumbled like a really good day, if you ask me. Yeah, price of the system, I'm really not that salty about. I expected 400, it's 450, whatever. And I get it. I could pay 500, which I probably will. Like, who wants to pay 80 for Mario Kart? I'd rather just pay the 500 at that point and get the bundle. And I think that's what they're banking on. But, you know, God forbid that bundle sells out. Now you've got to Switch 2 for 450. And now you got to pay 80 for freaking Mario Kart, man. It sucks. It really sucks. But yeah, guys, overall, I mean, that's my take on the Switch 2 reveal. Let me know in the comments what you thought about it, right? I mean, are you going to pre-order this one? Are you going to wait it out? To give you guys kind of just like where my mind's at, yeah, Switch 2 doesn't really seem that necessary right now. Let's be very real. Unless you want to play Mario Kart and unless you want to play Donkey Kong right away, Pokemon's coming out on the Switch 1, Metroid's coming out on the Switch 1. Yeah, that was it. I mean, it didn't look like there was exclusives, off rip for them to be like, all right, get in line for the Switch 2. And I think the same thing happened with the Switch 1. I think Breath of the Wild was on the Wii U and it was on the Switch. So you didn't really need to upgrade right away. But yeah, if you want to hold out, I would say on your Switch 1, I don't blame you right now. It's really just like they didn't really announce like some crazy system sellers. Don't get me wrong, Mario Kart looks awesome, but it's not really like an immediate day one upgrade for me. I'm still, back and forth between it. We'll see what happens, with the hype and everything like that and other stuff that they reveal. But you're not missing out on much if you keep your original Switch right now. And, if you want to get the Switch 2, more power to you. Again, drop a comment. Let me know what you thought about the reveal, the price, $80 games, shoot me some numbers, man. Give me your economic school, please. I'd like to see what you guys all think. That wraps it up for the Switch 2 overview and kind of just my thoughts. So I'll see you guys on the next video. Thanks.